Hello guys and welcome back to another FPL video. Today we're going to prepare the best draft, wildcard draft for game week 7 onwards. I'm going to move you through and lead you through the steps that I follow when I build a wildcard and what I tend to do and how I plan everything and how I approach the things when I'm using the wildcard. I'm going to lead you through the most important steps, what I look at, how I sacrifice several things and what are the things that I may sacrifice in order to gain some momentum. So first of all, when I prepare a wildcard draft, it's pretty easy. I clean up everyone. And we are done with them. Then first of all, I'm starting with a formation. So basically, I am going to either play 3-5-2 or 3-4-3. The thing I prefer here is to have 8 attackers because this is my wild card, and during this period there are a lot of cup games, European football, and a lot of prem games, and I don't want to waste transfers in order to move around the things. I'm going to prepare a fixture difficulty ranking on the side just to have it, just to discuss it, but realistically I don't want to play with more than 3 defenders. That's the case, I want to offload always 7 attackers. The best and most important thing for your team always is the captaincy option. Captaincy option can boost you massively. You can get some big hitters, you can get some big players, but the captaincy is going to move your ranks even further ahead than everything else. For the upcoming fixture run, if we look at the next 5 weeks, it's just obvious that I will be going for Manchester City captain. I know that several teams, like for example Arsenal, have 2 favorable fixture in the next 5. Then Villa has a fixture. Then Chelsea has a fixture. Then even a team like Liverpool has a fixture. United have some fixtures. Spurs are okay. But the thing I want to plan is the captains. And the best captain there is a man called Erling Haaland. I'm not surprising anyone by saying that I'm including him into my draft. I know that he started very well and I think that he will continue moving forward. Next up, what I tend to do is I pick the players that I'm not going to move around and transfer out. This is done because I want to have a solid front line of 3 to 5 players that are just there and are nailed for their minutes and for their place into my squad. The thing is that we have a lot of those players that are good. When I go and build a defensive department, the thing I do mostly is pick up good defenses. This season, nailing down a good defense seems a little bit questionable, but we can find a way around it, and we're going to include several players into the draft. Even though defense is important, the most important thing is to nail down the attackers, and then we're going to see how I'm going to improve the defense. So we're going to start with my attackers that are not going anywhere and are there to stay. One of them is Haaland. I'm not switching him around. The next player that I think is not going anywhere from my squad is Mbumo. This guy is already a 7.4 player. That's a lot of money invested in Mbumo. He started as a 7 million, but the rank increase that you can get from him is massive. He's a pen taker, he's a talismanic player, he plays always the 90 minutes, and he plays as a striker. Now Wissa and Thiago are out, with Ivan Toney being sold out. There isn't anyone else apart from Mbumo that is going to boost your rank from Brentford team. For our good luck, they have a solid fixture on Wolves, United, Ipswich, Bournemouth, Everton, Leicester. Those are not great defenses and you can get some massive points from him. So immediately Mbumo is into the frame. Now next up, there is a player that is similar to Mbumo, that is playing for a better side, he has better qualities, and is involved in basically anything his team scores. That player is called Cole Palmer. I'm not surprising anyone by saying his name. You're going to say, okay, but you're reactive from the 4 goals that he scored. Yes, those goals opened my eyes, but even if he scored only 2 and they finished 2-2, I would be like, okay, Palmer is involved everywhere. He is either assisting or scoring. No one is as involved as him, and he is so good that he can do so well. So yeah, I'm just realistically going to put Cole Palmer. That means that I'm most probably set with my 3 players. I tend to do 3 to 5, but currently I'm not sure that I can rely on 5 players. So the next 5 attackers are going to be either good price with okay fixture in a good team, or solid fixtures that are going to be rotated around. To think about defense, let's move there, is I tend to pick a keeper pair that play both of them. But this season there isn't a cheap guy that is standing out, so I'm immediately going to see if we have a cheap goalkeeper, and if that cheap goalkeeper can be 3.9, it would be ideal, but I don't think we have such. So we're going to just restore Bentley. It's no need uh, to think about it. We go for Bentley. Next up, the defense can be split into 2 ways. First of all, get neo defenders and then go for cheap options, or build them all together. I don't like to go for a 4.0 player, as I don't think there is such an upside currently. Yes, there is Sepp van der Beek, but I want to own another Brentford defender, and that's their goalkeeper. I'm going to bring in Flecken into the frame. For me, he has been a solid keeper. He has been keeping 0 clean sheets so far this season, but he has been making several saves. I know that easier fixtures are coming his way, so I believe that he can improve furthermore and he can get those clean sheets. So we're set from the goalkeepers. We're going for Flecken. We're going to Bentley. I'm not picking the backup goalkeeper for Brentford because I want to leave the third spot open. Now, next up, we are going to pick solid defenses that have been performing really well so far this season. Those defenses are as follows: Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester City, a low expected goal, and Fulham. For me, those 4 defenses have been performing amazingly well. Elsewhere, Palace are not, Southampton are not, Brentford we already picked, Wolves, Bournemouth, and Leicester no, West Ham and Ipswich are no. There is a defender from Ipswich that I need to talk about, but we will discuss it in a second. Everton and Newcastle, no. Aston Villa, no way. United, 0 way. Forest is a big shout out. Brighton is okay. Spurs, if you go for an offensive player, or the best center back for assists, Mickey van der Ven. Currently, I want to go to the neo defenders because setting up the defense on a wildcard is the most important thing, and not switching around the defense. Wasting transfer on defense after a wildcard is unreasonable in my opinion. Here we have an approach to do, and I want to showcase to you something. Arsenal are a solid team offensively and a really solid team defensively. If you decide to go for offensive players, you can gain some massive ranks, but their goals are split. There isn't a dedicated goal scorer like Palmer, like Mbumo, like Haaland into their team. That means only one thing: they are going to be keeping and getting more defensive regular returns than the attacking ones. Yes, you can get, for example, Martinelli, and you can go for his run. Yes, you can get, for example, Trossard, you can get Saka, you can get a lot of players, but for me, the defensive shout out is there. There is a big decision there to be made. Should I switch Flecken to Raya and be done with it, or just select Gabriel and gather great defender that is Saliba and be done with it? Yes, you're going to say, okay, but then Liverpool, Newcastle, Chelsea, yeah, it's not that easy of a fixture run, but you can manage with Arsenal defenders. Like, the upside is going to be so massive, and for me, those 2 defenders are going to be so solid. Now, next up, you can decide to go into several routes because you're playing maximum 3 of defenders and you need to have 2 options that are coming from the bench. I'm returning Robinson as a bench fodder immediately because he's so good, he's playing well, he's playing in a solid side, and he's cheap. Now, when you go such an expensive defense and you believe in Saliba and Gabriel, you need to pick just third defender and forget about it. In order to pick in such a defender, I would like to go for the one and only. Let me leave it most probably because I have so many attackers to fill in currently and I don't want to overspend right now. Now with the midfield and forward, we have a set defenders of 2 defenders, we have 3 attackers, and we have a goalkeeper. That's more than what we can say, and we have a bench option in Bentley and Robinson. Now I want to include a player of the ranks of Rodgers. At the price of 5.1 that we have him currently, he is already 5.2. If we go to midfielders and we select cheaper ones under 5.3, yes, there is a Dama who is a solid shout out, but I prefer Rodgers playing in a better side offensively. Onana is there, Suchik is there, Cook, he cooked last week, Mavididi is here, Wood is here, Ndidi is here. You have a lot of options. But for me, Rodgers, being 5 million if you got him early, 5.2 already, he's cheap, he's reliable, he plays in a top 6 side, and he's just 5 million. You can bench him easily, you can play him easily, you can rely on him infinitely. So you go for Rodgers. Now you have your first attacker there. Then I believe you had set a cheap attacker. It's time to set up those fixtures. Going into the fixture run for the next 2 weeks, it's important to target 2 to 5 weeks. So the next 2 weeks, we see Arsenal performing really well. We see Ipswich with a good fixture run. We see Leicester with a good fixture run. But we see Manchester City with the best fixture run. And that means only one thing. And that thing is that I'm immediately putting Phil Foden in. For me, if KDB remains out and Phil Foden for those 9.2 is going to be an amazing transfer. The budget is going down rapidly, so we need to be a little bit more conservative. I see a conservative side that I can invest comfortably in, and that is Wolves. They have been conceding a lot of goals, but they have been scoring several backs. So we have options like Cunha, has been with 21 points. Something is happening. I don't maybe have a provider here. Okay, it's back. So we go to Cunha. He scored only 2 goals so far, but those goals have led him to 3 bonus points. So that's a solid shout out. The fixtures are improving. Yes, Brentford is not amazing, but a player that I would like to recommend is this guy, Strand Larsen. This guy has got 1 assist and 1 goal. He has not been playing some regular minutes, but he has been playing some solid football. The issue is that he might be subbed off early while Cunha is just as nailed and is on penalties. We will try building this draft with Cunha in the front line position, a penalty taker and a good bench fodder if something happens. Another player that I would highly recommend is Chris Wood. So if you're not going for Cunha, you can go for Chris Wood penalties and cheaper. So let's invest in Wood for now. I know it's Chelsea next fixture, but Chelsea are conceding, and after that is a solid fixture run. Now we got another player that's in, so that leaves us with 21 million to finalize the squad. That's not a lot, so we might need to save some money. In order to save money, I know that Trent is the best defender in the game and it's currently in, but in order to have a solid lineup and move from there, I will be persuaded to select Konate. Konate has been exceeding a lot of my expectations, and for me, having a Liverpool defender for those games, he's a center back, so you can bench him and in game week 9. And in game week 9, Robinson faces who? Everton. So that would be ideal. Yeah, it faces Liverpool in game week 9, so basically your defense is going to get you 0 points in 9, but those things happen. In order to finalize the squad, we're going to just get Greaves as he's 4.0. He's starting every week and you don't need anything else from your defender. Now, you have 12 million to finalize the squad. It's not going to be easy, so we may need to drop down a little bit elsewhere into the squad, but we'll see. For now, we're in a good position. A player that I would highly recommend going for, it's either Watkins, but if you go for Watkins, as we see here, it leaves you with 3 million. You cannot pick a defender for 3 million. Those defensive options with those offensive ones are not feasible. You can go for a player of the rank of Solanke, who is currently the penalty taker as Son is injured. They have a good fixture run and you can just go for it. Yes, you are without an Arsenal attacker, which against Southampton can be little tricky, but as mentioned, you cannot have them all. Now at 4.8, there aren't a lot of players that you may need to go for, but I like Kibling. This guy is playing currently as a forward for Southampton. I know it's Southampton, I know it's not ideal, but Kibling, good option, good player, 4.6. you're with some money in the bank, you have a proper defense, you have a proper forward line, you can save some money by dropping Saliba, going to Raya, and then picking picking Van der Beek instead of Saliba, and go with Konate, Robinson, and probably Van der Beek rotated with Robinson, which can be also a good thing, to say the least. So you can, let me try to save the money and see what we can do with those money. So here we pick Van der Beek, but have in mind that this guy is not as nailed as Saliba. And here we go with Raya. Now you are 1.1 into the money, so you can improve to not a lot of people. You can pick Havertz, but I prefer Solanke. And if you go to Solanke, you can then remove Dibling and go for a 5.7. So you can pick Smith Rowe, you can pick several players, but I honestly like the other way around. I like Flecken as an option. I like, what's his name, Saliba. And I would like Dibling as a 4.5 and not taking a lot of money. That means that Foden, Wood, Solanke, and Dibling can be rotated around between themselves in order to target fixtures, and you can be good to go. The defense is set and forget. The goalkeeper is solid. You have Palmer, Mbumu, Haaland, and Wood as nailed penalty takers, and Solanke as a iffy penalty taker. So those are 5 penalty takers. I think that you cannot go much better than this into the wildcard. So let me just build it into here and I will see how it's going to look. So Flecken, here it's Saliba. Here immediately we're getting Konate. I know Trent is missing, but you cannot own them all. Here it's Greaves. Here it's Dibling. Here you go for Wood. Here you immediately go, oh, you keep Solanke, you have Haaland and Mbumu, Palmer, you take out Eze, and you bring in Foden, and I think you're in the money, 0.2 with 0.2, yes. So this week, let's say, oh no, that's 9. Sorry guys. So Henderson, Gabriel, let me just take it once again. Okay, too many players from Arsenal. This is Konate. This is Palmer. This is Foden for now. This is Greaves. This is Dibling. This is Solanke. And this is Wood. And here you're with a really solid squad. Yeah, you can say that the bench is not optimal, but yeah, you're playing with those. Then in game week 8, you keep the same players. You have a hard fixture here, you have a Fulham here, you can rely on Dibling here, you can rely on Greaves here, so you have options. Then in game week 9, you have Konate, who I would personally transfer, not transfer, but put on the bench and put Robinson. You have an amazing attacking fixtures. Yes, Saliba Gabriel is not ideal here, but who cares? Then in game week 10, you face those teams. Robinson back on the bench, Dibling in instead of Rogers, and you're in the money. Game week 11, you've generated at least 3 transfers. You can do several things, but I would realistically just roll and continue with it. And game week 12, I can then start offloading some players. I can take out Foden, I can take out Wood, and I can take several other guys. So I'll be able to maneuver around, maybe put Havertz in instead of Wood, and just go with the cheaper option. You have a lot of options. So that's going to be the wildcard suggestion for you guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you see how my thought process is going. If you agree with it, put it down a comment. If you disagree, yes, you can put down a comment as well. Just be polite, don't be rude to anyone with different ideas than yours. That's my appeal to you. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope to see you soon with more FPL content. But for now, guys, I'll be heading out. Bye.